What would happen if the moon crashed into the Earth? Would the Earth explode into a million pieces of celestial dust? Would a collision between the Earth and the moon begin a slow volcanic death for our little planet? From futurists to astronomers, many people have explored how cosmic catastrophes could change the future of our planet. They ask questions like, what would happen if the sun suddenly burst? Or what if the Earth swung too close to a black hole? But all too often, they turn a blind eye to the shining ball of moon rock rotating around our planet. Throughout human history, the moon has become something of a cultural icon, a symbol of love, madness, and even magic. But could the Earth's one and only satellite, that spellbinding white crescent floating in the night sky, could our moon one day destroy our entire planet? The moon, otherwise known as Earth 1, was likely formed about 4.5 billion years ago. The most popular theory, called the Big Splash, explains how the Earth collided with another celestial body, Theia, which was estimated to be around the same size as the red planet Mars. The incredible impact of these two bodies created a substantial amount of cosmic debris, which stayed in the Earth's orbit. Over time, that debris gathered together to form the moon you see shining over your head each night. Today, the moon has a diameter of around 2,159 miles. That's about 1/3 of the width of the Earth. In terms of surface area, the moon spans 14.6 million square miles. For reference, the continent of Asia stands around 17.2 million square miles, so the moon is almost 3 million square miles smaller than our largest continent. NASA describes it best when they say, if the Earth were the size of a nickel, the moon is only the size of a coffee bean. The two bodies differ the most, however, in mass. The moon is much, much lighter than our planet, with only 1.2% of the Earth's mass. The difference in mass, among other variables, causes a large disparity in gravity. The moon creates about 16.6% of the Earth's gravitational force. The average American male, for example, weighs around 190 pounds on Earth, but on the moon, the same person weighs only 31.5 pounds, around the same weight as a medium-sized dog. Yes, the moon is smaller and less massive than our planet, but what would happen if the two bodies slammed together? Think about the infamous asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. That asteroid was between 7 to 50 miles in diameter, yet the impact was powerful enough to wipe multiple species off the face of the Earth. The moon is at least 43 times larger than that asteroid, so could this collision annihilate our planet altogether? Let's find out. One day, the moon suddenly begins falling toward the Earth. As it grows closer and closer to our planet, a massive shadow would fall over the globe, covering cities, countries, and even whole continents in darkness. But darkness is nothing compared to what comes next. The Earth's tides are controlled by gravitational forces from the moon and the sun in combination with the Earth's rotation. So if the moon were to change position, the tides would be affected immediately. In this case, a significant increase in gravitational force from the moon would raise the tides by hundreds of feet. Right away, coastal cities around the world would find themselves drowning underwater. In densely populated areas like Shanghai, Miami, and Hong Kong, countless people would struggle to bear the overwhelming waves crashing into their homes. The flooding of Shanghai alone would dislocate more than 17.5 million people. As the moon comes even closer to our planet, those waves would climb higher than buildings and even skyscrapers. Soaring tidal waves would terrorize entire continents, racing across the surface at hundreds of miles per hour. These waves would be more powerful than the most terrifying tsunamis in history. There's a good chance that all non-aquatic life would die out before the moon ever makes contact with the Earth. When the moon finally reaches the Earth's atmosphere, another natural disaster would begin to ravage our planet. Supersonic winds, created by the drag from the moon's descent, would aggravate those raging tidal waves and cause enough chaos to blow humanity away. As the moon gets deeper into the atmosphere, we're nearing the point of contact. But let me ask you a question. When you imagine this catastrophic event, what do you see? Do you envision two cosmic spheres slamming violently into each other? Most people do, but a real collision between the moon and the Earth would unfold very differently. After entering the atmosphere, the moon would reach its breaking point, or Roche limit, around 11,470 miles from the surface. the gravitational forces holding our satellite together would fall below the gravitational forces of the Earth onto the Moon. In other words, our planet's gravitational field would rip the Moon into rings of debris, which would tumble around the Earth's orbit. Together, these chunks of Moon would form a 23,000-mile ring around the Earth. During this brief period, the Earth would look a lot like Saturn. But here's the bad news. This ring won't last forever. Over the next 24 hours, the ring of debris will begin to crumble. While the Moon and the Earth may not have collided as two whole objects, the remains of the Moon will still smash into the surface of our planet. Beginning with the smallest chunks, debris will rain down from the atmosphere. Try to imagine hundreds of thousands of asteroids, some the size of cars, others the size of countries, decimating our landscape. If any living organisms had survived, the crumbling of this ring of debris would eradicate them instantly. But these falling bodies wouldn't just reshape the surface of the Earth. The Earth's crust ranges from 5 to 25 miles thick, so larger pieces of debris would also puncture the crust, displacing the endless magma oceans waiting in the Earth's mantle. Suddenly, huge eruptions of molten lava would surge from every fault line on the planet. Add that to the rolling shock waves created by each impact, and the surface temperatures would climb well above 3,700 degrees Celsius. Our planet would boil itself 10 times over. Those monstrous tidal waves, which have grown even larger, would evaporate into nothing. The Earth's atmosphere would warp and eventually disappear completely. By the time these lunar chunks finish raining down on our planet, the Earth would become an unlivable ball of molten rock. If somehow, some way, any organisms survived the tidal waves, supersonic winds and falling debris, they would never survive this. It's safe to say the future of Earth looks pretty grim. But could the Earth ever recover from such an extraordinary disaster? If the Moon did crash into the Earth, would our planet blink out of existence? Let's take stock of exactly what our little planet has left. At this point, all of the seas and oceans on Earth have evaporated. All life forms, from the largest animals to the tiniest bacteria, have gone extinct. The Earth's atmosphere no longer exists, and substantial pieces of our planet have tumbled off into space. The future of Earth doesn't look promising, but there's still hope. Over millions of years, the Earth will begin to cool. Erupting volcanoes will settle, lava will harden, and the Earth will become a water planet once again. In fact, in a few 100 million years, the Earth may even be able to sustain life. However, without the Moon floating overhead, the Earth will never go back to the way it was. Turns out, the Moon does much more than just light up the night sky. The Moon is an important source of stability for the Earth, which actually wobbles slightly on its axis. The Moon keeps our planet rotating smoothly around the Sun, allowing for a livable climate and regular seasons. Without the stability of the Moon, the Earth will wobble more and more in its orbit. Over time, small fluctuations will grow into polarizing extremes, creating dangerous swings in temperature and extreme climates like ice ages. The volatile weather alone would make life difficult for any new organisms growing on Earth. The tides are another significant loss for new life. Hundreds of millions of years ago, the regular movement of tides not only carried nutrients around the globe, but it also spread organisms across the Earth's oceans. Without the tides, life forms may never have populated the entire planet. In the Moon's absence, the tides may not die off completely, but their impact will diminish. The planet's newly formed oceans will remain calm and steady, once again standing in the way of repopulation. There is, however, a glimmer of hope. Remember those pieces of Earth launched into space? If the Moon collided with the Earth, it could create one or more satellites in the same way that Earth and Theia created the Moon. Over time, debris would accumulate and brand new celestial bodies would rotate around our planet. Hypothetically, this new Moon could fill the void left by its predecessor, but there's no guarantee. Even if this new Moon shines in the night sky billions of years from now, there's only one thing we know for sure. If the Moon crashed into the Earth, our planet would never be the same. Lucky for us, the odds are in our favor. The chances of this catastrophe actually happening are slim to none. It would require a number of miracles to knock the Moon out of its orbit around the Earth. So let's just hope that day never comes.